Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Today we'll be discussing Bhagavad Gita as it is, chapter 3, text 10. Sahayagnaha prajah srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam eshavosthu ishtakamadhuk. So Krishna, in the previous verse, he's mentioned how one has to act for the purpose of yagna or Vishnu or Krishna, for the purpose of satisfying Krishna. So he now starts to tell the background of this yagna. Sahayagnaha prajaha srishtva. Krishna, in the beginning, he created this yagna. When he created this world, he created both yagna and the prajaha. Saha yagnaha prajaha srishtva purovacha, and he told, be thou happy, anena prasavishyadvam. Prasavishyadvam means be more and more prosperous by this performance of yagna. Anena, by this yagna practice, O dear prajaha, prasavishyadvam, be more and more prosperous. Eshavostu, eshaha, this will, vaha astu, it will cause ishtakamadhuk, whatever you desire for a good living, prosperous living, by the performance of yagna, you can attain all of that. So in other words, Prabhupada says the translation of this shloka, in the beginning of creation, the Lord of all creatures sent forth generations of men and demigods, along with sacrifices for Vishnu, and blessed them by saying, be thou happy by this yagna sacrifice, because its performance will bestow upon you all desirable things. So Prabhupada says right in the beginning of the purport, because typically people have a question, what is the purpose of this creation? There are a lot of philosophers, a lot of scientists, they ask this question. Like even Einstein is supposed to have said. See, one of the greatest scientists, if not the greatest scientist ever lived, Albert Einstein, he was saying that I'm not that interested in the details of this formulas or how each one works into the intricate details. I want to understand the mind of God, how God created this whole material creation. In other words, he acknowledged the presence of God and how God has created this. He was wondering. And a lot of scientists similarly, even after 7 decades of passing away of Einstein, Stephen Hawking, he also passed away a few years ago. But even he is considered one of the finest scientists of our time. He wanted to understand, he wanted to unify everything, all these different scientific theories that exist, the quantum mechanics, the law of gravitation, the general theory of relativity of Einstein. He wanted to unite everything and he called it as a theory of everything. And he said that if we can find out that theory to the degree that even a layman or a normal family can sit together over dinner and talk about it, like in layman's terms, if we can bring it down to that level, that is the theory of everything, then it will give light into why this creation came about, why God has created this. So like that, you see, this is a question that philosophers, scientists, educated people, the Vedanta is urging to understand why we are here. Athato Brahma Jignasa. What is the purpose of this creation? Why things work in a particular way and not work in another way? Why there are so many species? Why somebody is born to somebody and not to somebody else? We can get to choose what kind of job we want, where we work, what kind of spouse we want. But we cannot choose what kind of parents we want, what color of skin I want, how much beauty I have, how much intelligence I have. These are all not chosen. Why a person is born in a particular family and not in another family? So, what is the purpose? Having born, what is my purpose? Is it just to live and enjoy the senses, like a dog does or a cat does? What is special for a human being? So that is answered in this verse. Prabhupada says in the purport, the material creation by the Lord of creatures, Vishnu, is a chance offered to the conditioned souls to come back home, back to Godhead. See, this is the purpose. In one line, we have now come away from our original home, our home, back to Godhead. We belonged there, the spiritual world, and we have misused our independence and came here to this world to enjoy independently from God. We didn't want to serve God. We wanted ourselves to be like God and everyone to serve us. And the moment you rebel against God and God's kingdom, will be sent to this material world. Which is like if you rebel against the government and do things against government's rules, you'll be sent to the prison. Why? In order to reform your mentality. Prison is nothing but a reformation center. So likewise, this the free world is considered to be the spiritual world, and the prison is considered to be this material world. And we, the spirit souls or the conditioned souls, we came here to enjoy separately from God. But Krishna, out of kindness, he creates this material world and he offers a chance. Okay, you can enjoy your propensities and at the same time cultivate Krishna consciousness, reform your consciousness, and go back to Godhead. And the process to do that is the yagna. Yagna means by which we are offering our gratitude to God. We are reforming our consciousness. Instead of taking everything for me, we are showing our gratitude. Oh, God has provided everything, so I'm offering it to God. That is sacrifice, that is yagna. Prabhupada also mentions in the purport, all living entities within the material creation are conditioned by material nature because of their forgetfulness of their relationship to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, Prabhupada very nicely gives in one lecture. Let's say you go to a mental institution where people who are mentally challenged, they are placed there. And then, say, somebody goes there and their own child, their own son is there. when one is haunted and taken over by a ghost, the person cannot speak properly. And Mayagrasta Jivera, one who is similarly haunted by Maya, he cannot understand properly that he is part and parcel of Krishna. Therefore, it is called forgetfulness. Because of forgetfulness of Krishna, we are in this material world. One time somebody asked Prabhupada, how and why we lost our awareness of Krishna, awareness of our true love for Krishna. It's a valid question, isn't it? Why we forgot about Krishna? So Prabhupada said, our awareness is there. Just like you love somebody, you are meant to love Krishna, but you have forgotten. Why we have forgotten? The simple answer is, forgetfulness is in our nature. Sometimes we forget. And especially because we are very small, minute. Therefore, even I cannot remember exactly what I was doing last night at this time. So, forgetfulness is not unnatural for us. And again, if somebody revives our memory, to accept that is also not unnatural. So, Prabhupada says, then the question, okay, we are infinitesimal, like Arjuna asked Krishna, oh Krishna, you are saying many millions of years ago, you went to the sun planet and told Bhagavad Gita to the sun god, and but you are my contemporary. How could you have gone to sun planet so many years ago? It's just like, say, let's say you and me are talking, and I tell in my conversation, hey buddy, yesterday I went and met Mahatma Gandhi, and I was asking him how his meeting went, and he was sharing his plans and all of that. And then you will consider me a mentally deranged person, isn't it? Because Gandhi lived almost a decade, I mean, a century ago. And we are now a century later. How can I have lived? I was born a few decades ago. How could I have met with Gandhi? It's just like that. When Krishna said, oh, I've told this knowledge to sun god, and Arjuna was like, are you kidding me? And then Krishna told him, oh Arjuna, no, I'm not kidding you. Bahuni me vyatitani janmani tava cha Arjuna, tanyaham veda sarvani natvam vetta parantapa. Both of wherever I am going, wherever I am taking my incarnation, you are also taking an incarnation because you are my eternal companion. So when I went to the sun planet, you also were there with me in one capacity. But tani aham veda sarvani, I don't forget anything. Natvam vetta parantapa. But you can forget because you are a part and parcel, a tiny spark, a infinitesimal part of me. So you are prone to forgetfulness. But I am not prone to forgetfulness. Just like a big fire is a big fire, but a small spark of that fire can come out and get extinguished. So that is our nature. We should understand that forgetfulness is our nature. But then the question is, if we are in so much loving relation with Krishna, then why did we forget Krishna? That Prabhupada answers by saying, we don't trace the history when we forgot. That is useless labor. But we have forgotten, that is a fact. So the Acharyas answer like this. Yes, somehow or other you forgot, somehow or other you rebelled. You misused your freedom. Spirit soul means we have freedom. We have a free will. We make a choice. I want to go away from Krishna. I want to forget Krishna. Why we did that? When we did that, we don't have to go and dig it out. That is useless labor. Now we have forgotten. That is a fact. The immediate task is now how to revive it. Don't try to dig the history, why you have forgotten, and what was the date of my forgetfulness. Even if you know, what is the use? You have forgotten. Take it. Just like if you go to a physician, he will never ask you how you got this disease or when you got this disease. This disease is there. The alien element is there in the body. When it got entered, what is the reason? It's been there for so long. Nobody can trace out the exact point, what time you were infected, and all of that. So he will give the medicine. You take it. Now you are suffering. That is a fact. So forgetting Krishna is also like that. Now you revive your memory about Krishna and you become happy. Now to revive the memory, so let's say Prabhupada again gives a wonderful example. So how to revive our lost memory? Let's say yesterday I gave the example, you are dreaming and you are being chased by this tiger. So in the dream, you are completely ignorant of your physical reality. You are in the dream, mentally you are thinking something. Now suddenly this alarm rings. Your phone, in the morning, early morning, you put the alarm. It starts to ring. And suddenly you wake up. Oh my God, what was I dreaming? That means the sound has got an ability to penetrate your consciousness. Even though when your senses are inactive, the ears are very active. That's a special qualification for our ears. Through sound, we can be awakened. So that is the importance of the sound. So the Vedic principles, Shruti means, it also means, Shruti Vata Nitam means through the ears. The Vedic literature are called Shruti means it is to be heard through your ears. And the Vedic mantras, the Vedic knowledge, when it is entered through the ears, told by the spiritual master, it awakens the sleeping conditioned soul. Particularly this Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Sandashta Santrana Mantram, Shatruchchedaika Mantram, Sakalam Upanishad Vakya Sampujya Mantram, Samsarochcheda Mantram, Samuchita Tamasa, Sangha Niryana Mantram, Sarvaishwaryaika Mantram, Vyasana Bhujaga Sandashta Santrana Mantram, Jihve Sri Krishna Mantram, Japa Japa Satatam, Janma Safalya Mantram. So in Mukundamala Stotra, Kulashekara Acharya says, this mantra, this Krishna mantra is so powerful. Just like when somebody in those days, even now probably it exists in some parts of India, when there is a snake bite, you are afflicted with the poison of the snake. And there is some mantras by which you can be cured. So just like that, we are all afflicted by this Vishaya, these material objects are Vishaya, or in other words, they are poisonous. This material world, we are swimming in this ocean of material existence. And to get rid of this poison, the charming mantra is this Sri Krishna mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So, Jihve Sri Krishna mantram, japa japa satatam, janma safalya mantram. If you want to make your life successful, janma safalyam, Jihve on the tongue, Sri Krishna mantram, japa japa satatam, always chant the holy name. आश्चर्यमेतद्धि मनुष्यलोके सुधां परित्यज्य विषं पिबन्ति नामानि नारायणगोचराणि त्यक्त्वान्यवाचः कुहकाः पठन्ति. So Kulashekharacharya further says, so it is so surprising, आश्चर्यमेतद्धि मनुष्यलोके, these people, sudham parityajya visham pibanti, they are leaving out the nectar of the chanting of the holy names of Krishna, and they are taking poison willingly. This sense gratification is poison, whereas chanting is nectar, sudham. Sudham parityajya visham pibanti. So, ascharya etadhi. So, this is the surprise he expresses. So, Krishna mantra especially has the potency to wake us up from this forgetfulness, from this dreamy, illusory enjoyment, which is putting us in so much suffering. And in illusion, we are thinking of enjoying. So, to wake us up, the Vedic literature is there, particularly the cream of Vedic knowledge. Bhagavad Gita is being presented by Krishna himself. And Hare Krishna mantra is picked out as the cream of all Upanishads. The Upanishads are worshipping that lotus feet, the toenails of the Hare Krishna mantra. Nikila Shruti Mauli Ratnamala Dyuti Nirajita Pada Pankajanta. That is the position of Hare Krishna mantra. And then Prabhupada also mentions, as it is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyaha. The Lord says that the purpose of the Vedas is to understand Him. So now coming to the purpose of the Vedas. So now we understood the purpose of creation, which is to perform yagna, show our gratitude, reform our material consciousness, cultivate Krishna consciousness, and go back to Godhead. And how to perform yagna is mentioned in the Vedas. And what is the purpose of the Vedas? The same thing. Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyaha. The purpose of the Vedas is to understand Krishna. So one time there was this great sage. He was reading so much of Vedic literature. He wanted to understand the whole Vedic literature, amass all the knowledge present in all the Vedic literature. He was studying. And then one demigod, he appeared. And then he thought the demigod came to please him. And then the demigod pointed him to these mountains. And then the sage said, oh, he thought the demigod is showing him how much Vedic knowledge he has assimilated. He's showing the heaps and heaps of huge mountains. And then the sage became very happy. See, from my years and years of tapasya, probably lifetimes of tapasya and studying of Vedic knowledge, I have assimilated so much of Vedic knowledge. And the Devata became so pleased, and he's showing all of that. And the Devata also had his fist closed like this. And the sage thought he's going to give me some great boon. And he asked the Devata, so what are you here for? What is that you're holding in your hand? And then the Devata opened his hand, and a small little bit piece of mud is there. And then the Devata said, what is this? I thought you were going to give me a great gift. And the Devata said, this is the amount of Vedic knowledge you have assimilated over lifetimes. And what are these mountains you are showing? This is the amount of Vedic knowledge that is left for you to assimilate. And then he was shocked. And the Devata told him, don't become puffed up, because you can never assimilate the entire Vedic knowledge. It is oceanic. It is infinite. The Vedic wisdom is infinite. So don't try to assimilate Vedic knowledge and you'll be lost in this dense forest of delusion, as Krishna has said in the second chapter. Yadate moha kalilam buddhir vyetita rishyati. This dense forest of delusion. But what is the purpose of the Vedic knowledge? You have to understand. What is that? Vedaischa sarvair ahameva vedyaha. To understand Krishna is the purpose of the Vedic literature. So if you come to the point of Krishna consciousness, understand Krishna to be the Supreme Personality of Godhead, surrender to Him and engage in His devotional service, you have met the purpose of the Vedic knowledge. You have met the purpose of material creation. And Prabhupada also simplifies in the purport, what is this yagna, the best yagna we can do? Because yagna means typically people think of fire sacrifice and all of that we cannot do in this age easily. Of course, we can do that, but that's not the recommended one in this age. The recommended yagna for this age of Kali Yuga is Sankirtana Yagna. This transcendental system was introduced by Lord Chaitanya for the deliverance of all men in this age. Krishna Varnam Tvisha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Yagnaihi Sankirtana Prayair Yajantihi Sumedasaha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his incarnation is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. He is Krishna Varnam. He belongs to the category of Krishna. He is the incarnation of Krishna. But Tvisha Akrishnam, he didn't appear with the complexion, the dark complexion of Krishna. He appeared with the complexion of Radharani. To understand like how Radharani did as a devotee. So he appeared as devotee of Krishna. And he appeared with, when an incarnation comes, he comes with his associates, astras, and all of that. So who are these associates? The Lord's associates are his devotees. His astra is the holy name. And his method of yagna is Sankirtana Yagna. Yagnaihi Sankirtana Prayair Yajantihi Sumedasaha. And anybody who is the most intelligent, they will accept this process of Sankirtana Yagna. So what we are following, chanting of the holy names and doing the congregational chanting of the holy names, encouraging people to chant, this is the most bona fide process. We are not making this up. This is mentioned in the scriptures. And only a Sumedhasaha, most intelligent person, recognizes the importance of it and performs it. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to unmute yourself. So we seem to have one chat. Oh, sorry. I think initial part was not unmuted. Apologize for that. Bhagavad Gita as it is ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.